Okay, this is W1REX, Rex Harper from QRPME, and I got a quick evolution of the my new little project called the Tuna RF Monitor. Many years ago, I think it was 2010, I went to 4 days in May, and I took some vending machines, and I created a little a bunch of little kits. You could have 8 different selections on the vending machine. Unfortunately, the machine would only take 8 quarters, so the most I could get for a kit was $2 in the vending machine. So I went and bought a whole bunch of match boxes, emptied out all the matches. They were plain. Emptied out all the matches and put little kits inside. And this was one of the kits that I had, called the Matchless Key. And it was a little kit, all the stuff inside fit in the matchbox, and it was a little circuit board. You snap that off and you mount that onto a piece of wood with the screws and some various and sundry things, and you ended up with a small, this is an evolutionary version of it, but you ended up with a small straight key with a super bright LED. I used it for Boy Scouts and whatnot, and I remember the first time I put the kit out there for testing. My buddy had a Life Scout at the time, and he was having a birthday party, and he had a couple of scouts coming over, so I gave him a couple of kits to build. And I got a call about 1 o'clock in the morning, and they had built 4 kits, and 3 of them didn't work. So they came over at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I fixed all 3, and then we all went out to the gravel pit, and some went up to the hill, and some stayed in the two people went up the hill, and 2 people stayed in the gravel pit, and we used them to communicate back and forth at about 2 o'clock in the morning. It was a lot of fun. Anyway, that was one of the kits I had done a long time ago. I don't have very many of those left, but I was asked to help a club, the Hall of Science Amateur Radio Club, do the New York City Maker Faire. But they didn't have any money. I didn't have any money. And we wanted to give stuff away. So I took that same design and sort of made it out of a couple of meat squares and a couple of pieces of blank bare copper. And I stood in front of the shear, and I sheared hundreds and hundreds of pieces to make these little keys. And it was the same thing. 9-volt battery, and this one stuck right on the battery with double-sided tape. Super bright LED resistor, 9-volt battery, and again, pretty smooth action on that. I think we did almost 100 kids came through the booth that weekend, and we gave those kids kits away. And every kid managed to make that kit all by themselves, gluing the parts down, soldering them. We only had 2 kids that touched their soldering irons, and they braved it. They toughed it out. Anyway, advanced 2 more years, and they asked me to come down and do it again, but I didn't feel like doing that. I wanted to make it quicker so that the kids could play with it better, and make it a lot easier so that, you know, it would take a little bit less time for the kids to build them. We can get more kids through that way. So I came up with this version. This is the latest. I just showed you. This is the same kind of a thing as I did with the earlier kit, only I updated it. And again, we had a little circuit board. You could put it in your pocket, and it was kind of cool. But it also has a little bit more to it because I redesigned it. Here's one inside an Altoids tin, and it has an attachment. You can actually put a buzzer on it too. So you can take this out and use it to this is actually a little, it's kind of convoluted here, but there's actually a little base here. Come on. So if this thing can sit on the base, you can actually glue it down to the base. And so not only is it of the audio, but the video too, so it's kind of cute. We had 150 kids come through the Maker Faire last fall, and they had a grand time, and every kid who left had built a key and actually sent their name in Morse code. That was pretty cute. So I've been playing around with this some more, and I had a whole bunch of these. These are the Me tubes, and this particular Me tube was one where I had made the numbers backwards. And I was just playing around with it, and I said, oh, I wonder. So I actually just took a vacuum tube and stuck it in there. And then what I did was I put an orange LED in it. So it looks like the cathode is lit. Yet, if you push the button, we got a super bright red. Let me turn it around so it goes better on video. So you got the super bright red. That's pretty cute. So I made it a little bit, I dressed it up a little bit, and I have one in a Tuna project board, which is a board I have for making any kind of a project inside a tuna fish can. And so what I did is I mounted the thing on the Tuna project board and added some extra circuitry down below. And here's my Navy key that my dad gave me when I was 11 years old, a long time ago. And you jack that in there, and I have a 9-volt battery inside, and this is just a jumper RCA, so it shorts the circuit, and I use that to power it up. So you can see you've got an orange. You can see that in the camera. You got an orange cathode running hot. This tube is hot. And then as you key it, it illuminates the tube with the ultra bright, super bright red. Kind of cute. Well, I got thinking about it even more. I like that idea. So the next step in the evolution is this one. I got to wheel all this stuff out. Here's a C-Sprite, 40 meter minimalist transceiver, and I have now the same thing. I have a vacuum tube lit up. I think I've actually got this attached. I spread the pins out underneath just so it wouldn't fall off all the time. And I built this in a Tuna helper board, and I put some of this stuff for the Tuna helper. Namely, there's an RF sensing circuit in here. I didn't put in the relay for switching the antenna receiver because I didn't want to do that. I wanted to basically sense RF and light that tube when it sees RF coming down the line. So here I got it jacked into the antenna of this C-Sprite. I've got a little adapter cable so I can run my Navy flameproof key on it, and I'll bring out some volts here and hook it up to my 12-volt battery. Oh, I still have my hidden key in here. Okay, so I turned on my power, and you can see the cathode is hot on this vacuum tube. Now I'm going to transmit. I'm going to key the transmitter. I've got the antenna line coming down to the RF monitor, and I've got the TR switch, the little switch down here. I got it to power. I've actually jumpered it so the transmit and the antenna are always connected together. So this doesn't function like a TR switch anymore. And I use the switch to either put in a 50 ohm dummy load or take it out. If I had a real live antenna hooked up to this thing, I'd take the dummy load out and I'd just be sensing my output signal going to the antenna. In this case, I don't have an antenna hooked up, so I got it hooked up with a dummy load inside. And now I'm going to send some RF. I'm going to key my transmitter, and there you go. I've got an RF monitor, and it will work with any QRP rig. It just sends the RF going out to the antenna. It's a pass-through device. Kind of cool. I like it. So that's the latest kit, the Tuna RF Monitor. Now I did jazz it up just a little bit more. I had some Christmas stockings this winter at Christmas time, and so what I did was I took that same kit, and you can see I've got a whole bunch of LEDs here, and I've got 1, 2, 3, I got 4 orange and 5 super bright red. Same thing with my built-in little. Oh, I'm sorry. I rigged this one up so it actually feeds off of 12 volts. So I'm going to bring 12 volts into it. Let me get this thing. Let me just take the transmitter part out of it because I'm not going to show that. So I'm going to bring my battery in. And now you can see I've got 4 orange ones hooked up. I just happen to have a secret stash of some pretty sexy tubes. This is a iMac VT127A. So, and I've got this thing adapted so you can just sling it right down in there. I don't have this permanently rigged up because it is kind of fragile. So, in this case, I'm going to bring in my. How did I rig this one up? I'm trying to remember now. Oh yeah, I'm bringing. This is not an RF sensing one. This is just a prototype I built of the first way to rig up the LEDs. So I'm actually bringing the signal in the. Oh shoot! I got my cable already being used. Well, that wasn't very good. I'm gonna have to hose something up real fast. So, oh wait a minute, I can do this. I think, yeah, I've got it hooked up so the RF power jack is actually controlled by my key switch. So if I just put my shorting plug in here, you can see that all the red super brights come on as I was keying in it. I don't have this thing adapted. I've got an adapter for a stereo, but I don't have an adapter to go from mono to RCA. I guess I could hook one up awful fast. Let's see. Yeah, I'll get this thing done. Hold on. We'll crank this in here. We'll get a couple of alligator clip leads out. Come on. I want to show this thing off. So I'll put one on my tip and one on my ring. Doesn't make any difference because I'm just looking for a switch closure. So here we go. The other thing that's kind of neat about this VT127 tube is the fact that, I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to disconnect this now. I don't know if you can see it, but the bottom of this tube has a green tinge to it. Well, that's uranium glass. And uranium glass will light up vividly, vividly when you hit it with a UV. So I got this little UV LED, and I'm just going to show you that. Whoops, that's not the UV LED. Dang, I thought that was a UV LED. that's the RGB. What is that anyway? No, that's just another bright red. Where in the heck did the UV LEDs go? Oh darn. I got another glitch in my little presentation. I'm not going to start all over. I'm going to find this stupid. Geez, I just ordered a whole bunch of them. They came in. They're in a bag. I'll swing over to the rest of my bench here so you can see that I had to pile up a whole bunch of garbage over there to get a space to do my little video here because I haven't cleaned my bench. I've been too busy trying to get kids out the door. Doggone it. Oh, here we go. I found it. Here's a UV LED. Which of course you won't be able to see because it's just a little light purple. But you can see that it really lights up green. So if I put one of these in the hole in the center, you can see the whole tube lights up green. So that's kind of cool. So combine that with the super bright reds, it'd be a neat little display. So I'm going to send some of the, I'm going to send our UV LED out to the people who bought a Christmas stocking, the Tubby's Christmas stocking that has one of those 127s. Okay, well that's it. That's the evolution of how I came about with this Tuna RF monitoring kit. And that's it. Thank you. Bye.